So hello, we are live now. Thank you everybody watching. So I'm Jonathan Huggins. My website Huggins International.
We are live now.
Joined here by Maureen of my little English page. So
hello everyone. Lovely to see everyone here.
So we've got a couple of viewers are starting to see the numbers joining. They're starting to add more and more. There is a chat box next to this video. Please say hi there. I can see your comments. We can see your comments here. So there is Sharif Ahmed, and I can see also Sueli Faria, and also Marina saying hi from my little English page. So yes, we're all in here. Hi, let us know where you are from, where you're joining us. Hi, and let us know.
Hello, Swelly.
Where you are from. And it's not easy to type quickly on these things. So
Daniel, hello. Is it Danielle? It's probably Danielle.
We'll have to ask. But so hi. So keep the highs coming and let us know where you're joining from. So we will be able to check these messages. And where am I? I'm from California, but I currently live in Mexico City. I've been living here for about 9 years. Before that, I was in Paris for 6 years. And so yeah, I've been moving around, and like a lot of what we're going to talk about today about learning tips, being an independent learner, comes from a lot of this experience of living abroad, studying, being curious. So we've got a lot of hidden surprises and stories and backstories to share with you guys for learning tips. And we've got some really cool resources we're going to share with you. And really stay with us until the end. I want to share with you a really cool program. So stay here, and Maureen, why don't you get started here? Because I know you've been learning English for a while, and you've got a really cool story of, between the US, UK. How long have you been working on English and teaching English?
Okay, so first of all, I'm French. Well, I'm mostly French. I'm also Spanish, but I would say I'm more French because I was born and raised in France. So basically in France, back in my days, we started English at 11 years old. So that is, I never remember what it is in the UK, but in the US is the equivalent of middle school pretty much in the US. And then all the way through middle school and high school, I did English as my second language, so my first foreign language, really. And then when I graduated, I was like, I don't know what to do. I want to go to uni, but I don't want to just go to university for the sake of going to university. So I went to the US. I did another year of high school. Amazing experience, really, really, really fun. And so that's why sometimes you'll hear that I have some American accent leftovers in my English. But that really, really, really helped me. That was the big push to make the big difference, I think, between, I speak good English or I speak English well, and the English is a lot better. So I did that. Then I went to university and started studying Spanish and English. And then I did my Erasmus in England. And that's where the English or British accent comes into play. I did a year there and then an extra year. And that's my story, really, I think, my learning journey. So how many years? I was 11 and I am going to turn 27. I'm fine saying my age. I have no problem with that. So yeah, that's a while. 16 years now. 16 years? No.
Yeah.
No.
That's cool. That's cool. For I would say I got started with Spanish in '95, and then 2 years after that I started with French. So that was '97, and then so I did 4 years of Spanish in high school and 2 years of French. My Spanish helped accelerate my French, so I skipped from year 1 to year 3.
Okay.
So in my last year of high school, I was Spanish 4 advanced placement. That's like you can get university credit for that if you pass a test. And then French level 3. And I think after a semester of that, I started doing German 1 at a community college.
Wow.
And in the evenings. And then my teachers gave me this nice little award. I think there was only like one person from my school. It was like some excellence in foreign language thing. So that was really cool. I need to put a little picture of that on Instagram somewhere, but because I know a lot of other people, they'll say like, oh, I was terrible at languages when I was in high school. And I'm like, I wasn't.
Yeah.
I love this. And then I got my bachelor's degree in French. And that last year of high school, my French teacher took us on a trip to Geneva and Paris for 2 weeks. And that's when I fell in love with Europe. And I was like, I want to move back here and study here. And then I did. And so then now I think you said 16 years of English. For me, it's been 16 years living abroad for that. So.
Okay. Quick question, little comment, because you were saying that you always like languages when you're in school. Did you travel as a child?
Only in the U.S. I didn't get my first passport until I was 17. So,
okay. Because I would have thought that it's people who travel more when they're young that tend to like languages, but I guess that doesn't apply here. So
kinda. I mean, I was born in New Jersey. Then when I was 3, we moved to North Carolina. So I would love to have some audio files of these things, but because my dad is from Brooklyn, my mom's from Columbus, Ohio. And so that probably creates a little interesting mix of accents. And then my dad makes fun of the fact that when I was like 3 or 4 years old in North Carolina, that I had an accent, and my brother and sister would say things like, yeah, you would say you were fixing to go to your friend's house, and my dad would say, like, I would respond and say, hey Dada, how was your work, Dada? Like, Dad is home or something. And I can't imagine that, because when I was 5, we moved to Southern California. So my accent, it's mostly just kind of Southern California, what you might hear in TV, movies, Hollywood movies, kind of broadcast English. So I guess I got an ear for listening to things. I mean, I don't know about that anymore, because that was when I was a little kid. I don't remember any of that stuff, but I guess that may have set the stage for immersion and switching between accents, or adapting. So I guess for my language studies, I would say I have, and I guess music background as well has helped. I've seen a lot of times musicians and language learning. I know there's a famous example like Rachel's English for the pronunciation channel. She got started with her pronunciation courses because she had to be learning like French and German, Italian for opera. She has a singing background, and then people were asking her how can they work on their English, so she started putting together pronunciation exercises. But it was kind of in that music language environment as well. There's a lot of cool stuff. So enough about us. We're here to give you guys lots of tips and resources that you can use to become an independent learner, things that you might not necessarily have enough money to pay for lessons sometimes, or invest in courses. There are lots of resources out there that are free or low cost, and we're going to look at a couple here, things that you can use to help you when even if you have a teacher, maybe things that you can use outside of lessons as well. So we'll go through a couple of these different skills.
Let me just add a little thing as well. guys, in general, when you want to learn something, you can't just expect other people to help you. Of course, we are here for that. That's the whole purpose why we're here. But I'm saying that because, you know, we often get messages, for example, of people asking us, oh, what does this word mean? And then they won't look it up until we look it up ourselves for you. And we can't do that to every single person. So you have to take charge of your own learning. And you know, if you want to learn something, try to figure it out. There's so many resources. There's Google. Google's your best friend. And then once you've gone through all of the resources that you have, and you still don't understand, then I would go on and ask. But the fact that you're also doing the research yourself and trying to figure it out yourself, you're going to learn it quicker. You're going to memorize it just by looking it up and researching it. So that's also why we're here today, to give you all the tools to take charge and take control of your own learning.
I would fully agree with that. I would say my last year of learning French at the university, I had to take a phonetics course for the first time. And because of the semesters, just the way it worked, it had to be an independent study course. My teacher, her schedule didn't work. She couldn't do it just for one person, me. So I had to learn phonetics independently. And up until that time, I think my French teachers were just English speakers. Mm-hmm. And nobody really corrected my French very much. So this phonetics course, me doing this as independent study, doing a lot of hypothesis, guessing, researching, double checking, it really forced me to be an independent learner with that aspect of my pronunciation. And nothing can really replace that. I think if a teacher just spoon-fed rules or things like that, I would not have been as curious to try to like. Mm-hmm.
And that's the right word that you just used, curious. I think this word is extremely important when you're learning a language. You have to be curious. You have to want to learn. You have to, I don't know, see a thing in the street and say, oh, what is that? I want to know how you say that. If you don't, then you'll never learn what it is. So you have to be curious. That is definitely the right word that you use there, I think.
Mm-hmm. And I think later on, more recently, studying Russian, I was with a teacher who was just very strict, very rigid, and it was almost like, I'm the only one giving you these vocabulary words. And I think that got me into a bad habit of becoming dependent on the teacher and feeling like there were certain grammar points that I was not allowed to study, or certain vocabulary words that were outside of the course content. And it kind of limited me in my curiosity. And then when those classes stopped and I felt like I don't have to be so dependent, I can be curious about this stuff. Like, there are certain phrases I want to learn so I can use these in conversation. Go ahead and learn them. Don't ask for permission from a native speaker or a teacher. Like, am I allowed to learn this? I mean, if that's what you want to learn, by all means, learn that. Find what you want to use in a conversation or what applies to your hobbies, your interests. So one, be curious and don't necessarily think that you have to ask for permission to study something. If it's interesting to you, then yeah, study it, learn it, be curious about it.
All right, awesome. So should we get started with some of our tips?
Yes.
I think we've kept everybody waiting for too long now.
yeah, I know, we're building this up so much. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. And we're going to go back and forth, and we've got a couple, let's see here, we got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We've got over about a dozen little links here, and we're going to add some comments back and forth. So if you could just, go ahead.
Just one thing, guys. We are going to share a super, super, super awesome thing that Jonathan does to help you guys, but we'll only share it at the end of the video. So you have to stay until the end for the best of the tips at the end. Okay?
Let's go. Great. So let me just share my screen here, and then if you can, okay. So can you see my screen now?
I can. This is so cool. Technology is awesome.
Great. Okay, so the first thing that you can see here, hopefully you can see this, is a Facebook group. Yes? Can you see this? Yeah, okay. Yeah, so this is called Language Exchange. A month from now, this is going to come up on 3 years old. I created this in July 2015. And the reason why I created this was I was getting so many of these messages from people saying, hey, you're an English teacher. Can I talk with you? Can I practice with you? And I just got inundated with all these messages of people wanting to practice and share. So I said, why don't we just create a group? And little by little, it started to grow. And now there's probably up to about like 17,000 people in there.
You'll find someone in the group if there's that many people. Yeah, that's awesome.
And there's probably about 3,000 people on the waiting list, just because I can't quite always keep up on the moderating and adding. So if you guys find this, just look on Facebook, Language Exchange. And in one of the questions where it says like what you're looking for, mention, let's say, let's use a password here. If you could use this little password, my little English page. So put that in your comments. I'll know that you guys had watched this video in that when you are signing up. And so we have a lot of people from around the world joining there. It's a great way to reach out to people, say, I'm a native speaker of this language. I'd like to learn this language. I'd like to practice my English. And then go ahead and start socializing and meeting those people and finding a time that's convenient for you, or switch over to another platform if you like to use Skype or WhatsApp or whatever, a Telegram. Or you could go ahead and use Facebook Messenger directly on there if you're using Facebook. But this is one tool there, because recently on my Instagram, as I've been starting to get more followers, I put a survey together to see what people are struggling with in their language learning. And one of the top things that people were mentioning was finding partners to practice with. So be curious. I think that's a key word we're going to be using today, but be curious to meet other people, share advice with them, best practices, and find times that might work for you to practice. So even if somebody is more advanced than you in the same language, that could be a way to not necessarily have to be a native speaker. You can definitely practice English with somebody more advanced than you. They've been where you are now. They've gone through the same struggles. Maybe they've found out other tips, or they've no resources that they can share with you. So be curious about that. Let me just go over here and keep the focus on my screen. So because if you start speaking, then it's going to switch over to your thing. Yeah, okay. So do you have any comments about Facebook groups?
Yes, actually. So just one thing before, guys, all the tips, I'm going to be writing them on the side, okay? Writing tip 1 and then a few little things. So if you want to look, we said a tip and you can't remember, just look in the comment section. Cool. Now, yeah, regarding language exchanges, so yes, there is this group, but also, for example, I know in Seville, there's a lot of language exchange, like real, you know, face-to-face. And most of those groups are going to be called Language Exchange Seville, Language Exchange Malaga. So look it up on Facebook as well, because you might actually find a face-to-face language exchange in your own city through Facebook. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's also a great tool to meet people. Look at yeah, language groups in your own city, and that's also I think a really cool one. I've been meaning to go to one forever. I need to do it, but I have a lot of my students who actually do it. Sorry?
And another tip here with Facebook groups is also look for your hobbies, your interests. So let's say I like doing something about photography. So are there any Facebook groups about photography? So, okay, these are pages, but let's find groups. So, okay, photography for beginners. There's 61,000 members in this group. It looks like the page is in English. So this is another way to use groups, is not just learning a foreign language, learning how to speak a foreign language, but in the case of if you're learning English, use English to learn something new or to learn something else. This will be vocabulary in use. These will be actual things written by native speakers. You can start to bond with native speakers over a shared interest. So if you like photography, join a photography group. If you like, I don't know, something about traveling, so something here, travel languages, that goes along well. Maybe you are a female language student and you like to travel by yourself. Okay, there's 70,000 people here. So so use some of your hobbies or interests to find people maybe in that target language. So right now I've written 2 things in English, but maybe there might be something of photographie. I don't know, maybe there's a group in French. I don't know.
In French, it might be more complicated there.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, who knows? But be curious. Try to use the search tool here to see if there are groups related to your interests, and then meet people. So some of the tricky things with the language exchange is that your only shared interest is the fact that you're both learning the foreign language. And sometimes that's not enough to really keep that friendship going. So you usually need to have 2 or 3 things of interest in common that you can talk about. Otherwise, it'll just be kind of, hey, nice to meet you, where are you from? And then you never talk to each other again. So if you have a couple things in common, this will kind of keep that conversation going for a couple sessions until you like get to know each other better. But that's, yeah, between language exchange and Facebook groups, yeah, look, there's a ton of them out there. Okay. Have you ever done that? Have you ever used a group based around an interest?
On an interest. Nope. Nope, I haven't. Actually, have I? No, I think I'm lying. It wasn't a group. It wasn't a Facebook group. It was more like a forum, though. But it's kind of a similar idea, I guess. I'm a bit of a geek, and I love mangas and things like that. So I used to discuss mangas on different forums and talk about, oh yeah, did you see the latest release? Oh, it's awesome.
Cool,
so I do that on forums. So, but the idea is pretty similar, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Take something that you like, that you can get passionate about, you can kind of geek out about. That will keep you kind of motivated.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on to listening and reading.
Okay.
So one website that I like, at least for American English, there are other websites as well, I think, for British, Canadian, Australian. And what this particular website, VOA, that's Voice of America, they have a learning English edition here, and they adapt this to a couple different levels. So like level 1, level 2. And what they do is if we take one of these articles, let's say here's something about American Stories, this blue hotel. And on here, there's a picture. Looks like it might be a video as well. But down here, yeah, there's a video, part 1. There's an audio file here. And what this audio file is, it's somebody reading this text. So I'm a big fan of text and audio so that you can associate the pronunciation. You can listen to the grouping.
Right? Basically, that's a script, and then you have the audio file separated. Okay, that's cool.
So you can download this audio file. You can listen to this on your phone. You can read along. I think that's called shadowing, a technique. And what are some of your favorite activities with text and audio?
With by activities, do you mean what I do for reading or what I like to have my students do?
I guess both. I mean, as a learner and also as a teacher.
Okay, so as a learner, so this, guys, none of what we're saying is sponsored. We're not getting any money from that. This is just genuinely what we think. For reading, I have become a really big fan of Amazon because if you get the Amazon Prime, which I think is 15 euros a month or so, you have access to a bunch of Kindle Unlimited book. They are completely free, and you don't even
here. So Amazon. Amazon, it says try Prime. Yeah.
Exactly. And I just read on my phone, and the amazing thing about it is that there is an option for words that you don't know. You can click on it, and it can give you synonyms. So it's really helpful when you're reading something that might be a little bit more advanced than what you're used to, or even if it's just maybe not the same genre of what you usually read, or just a different type of vocabulary. There's always an option of clicking on the word, tapping on it, and it gives you synonyms, alternatives. You can look it up in the dictionary if you're connected to internet. So that's why I think it's a really, 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 really good tool, because it gives you access to so many free books for just, if I'm right, I think it is 15 euros a month. So it's not that bad, really. It's like paying for a library, but you don't have to go to the library. Haha.
Yeah, you have it on your phone or your device.
Exactly, and you can use it on your phone, on your tablet, even on your TV if you want, nowadays. So I think that's really useful. And I might be jumping the gun here, but you can use that Amazon Prime thing as well to watch movies and film. They have the same thing as a kind of Netflix, but it's Amazon Prime. And there's not as many, but it still provides you with a bunch of series and movies that you can watch for free as well. And it's all included with those 15 euros, more or less. So I think that this is pretty cool. It gives you a huge database of books that you can read. So I would say that. And then, yeah.
So yeah, I've been using the Kindle app on my phone. So maybe I can just go back over to my screen for a second here. And stop sharing for a second. So if you can see me, let me go over here and just show you. So where is this? Yeah. So I have, I'm not sure where. So up here is the Kindle app. I'll open this, and I got a nice present the other day from, if you guys were participating in Challenge Accepted XXL, Natalie, she gave me a set of terrible dad jokes.
I did not.
So I've been going through a couple of these and going, so going through and kind of just like some of these are as bad as my own jokes, but it's just, I mean, that's like a little dad joke thing here you can shoot. But what Marina is saying here is, I'm not sure if this one has that, but let me go to another book, see if it has it on here. Let me see if this other one has this, if I can, yeah, here.
You can also highlight passages that you find.
This is a business book. So I highlighted the word like productive. I can maybe take that as a note. I can search for this. I can maybe share it. I can copy it. I think if there was something here, yeah, it's got on the bottom here. It's trying to look for this in the dictionary, or Change Dictionary. It's showing me Wikipedia about productivity. It is looking for a translation with Bing as well. So that's a really cool thing. All I did was just click on one of these words. I'll put maybe annual. Maybe this is the word here. Annual. So now I have the word annual. It's trying to look for it maybe in the dictionary. I need to download a dictionary first. But Wikipedia, it's popping up immediately. And it's offering me a translation. So if you're going to be like interacting with these books, I would definitely recommend that as well. I'm not getting paid to recommend that either, but I'm just saying as a user of this, you don't have to just have the Kindle device, you can have the Kindle app. I have a Samsung, so this is on an Android device. So it's fairly easy to use. I don't think these books take up too much memory, and you can create a library on your phone. Yeah. And the nice thing is it knows where you are in the book. So if you like just turn it off and you have to go to a meeting or wherever, you have that automatically kind of bookmarked as you're using it. So
definitely a great resource. I discovered it, I think 6 months ago or a year ago or something like that, and I just use it all the time. Pretty good. And you can also highlight passages that you find interesting, so you want to go back later on it because you don't want to look up what it means. You can always go back to it. So yeah, it's really cool. I also have a little activity that you guys can do at home for reading. It's using Wikipedia. Have you heard of the Wikipedia race?
No. So let me go over to Wikipedia. Is this something I can just search for on there?
Yes.
Or is it something you kind of create for your students?
Well, okay, so basically, you know, on Wikipedia, you have an option to get random articles. Okay, so basically, you can be 2, 3, 5, 20 people playing. It doesn't matter as long as everybody has a device connected to internet. So you can have Wikipedia. And you randomly select 2 articles. Okay, from the Wikipedia page. You tell everybody to go on the same one. And then only by reading and clicking on the extra links, you have to get to the other page. So it kind of forces you to scan through because you don't have time to read every single thing. Let's say one of the articles that I have to go to is about a special town in the US. And my first article is about the creation of forks. Do you understand? I know it can sound a bit tricky.
I'm following. I'm not sure if it's getting through the links to get to that page.
Yeah, so basically, okay, so I'm starting my article about creation of forks, and I see a link that takes me to the creator of forks, and I see that he's American. So I'm going to click on it. Then it's going to take me to his bio. In his bio, there might be something about America. I'm going to click on it. And then in the next article, there might be something about cities in the US. I'm going to click on it. So it forces you not to read for details so much, but to scan a text quickly, which is what students often have to do for exams. And they just get to focus on tiny words, and that's not what you want to do. So that's quite a fun game that you can do in your own language, in any language, in class, with your friends. And it's a little reading activity.
Yeah, I think it's really important to develop these little skills for trying to identify keywords and like search for them quickly. Yeah. This reminds me a little bit of a technique that I used to do with the radio. When I was in France, I would just have like a small little radio, and I would just be scanning and jumping between stations for like 5 seconds. And I would hear stuff and going like, I mean, I'm doing this in English, but it'd be like, and he's running, he's going, he's gotta go. And I'm like, okay, that's a sports broadcast. They're commenting on a game. And then I move over to the president has spoken to the parliament, and they have the decision will be like, oh, okay, that's political news. And I would just be going through and like, and if you buy now, we'll give you a 2 for 1 free. And I'm like, okay, that's advertising. So I would just kind of be taking a couple key words that I would try to hear from the context. But the idea is like, take small amount of something and see if you can find that. So I think for reading as well, if you're looking for keywords, I definitely see that could be a useful skill as well for like the TOEFL reading. Yeah. I have lots of students that have to, like, they get in the habit of they want to read the entire text, and I'm like, you need to learn how to look for verbs and nouns or jump around. But cool. And I think you could probably practice some of these things with the Amazon reading the books, jumping around as well. Maybe look for keywords.
Okay.
I had a student a while ago working on speed reading techniques. She was showing me some of the exercises she had to do, but definitely invest some time in speed reading. I think that will be a benefit, and I think if you can lurk on a device like that, that you can get into that habit.
Just one other thing, Shreve, I will re-explain the activity more in detail later, maybe on Instagram or on Facebook, because we have like a million tips to go through. But yes, if I do forget, send me a message on Facebook or Instagram, and I will do it, because it is a really cool activity. And yes, it deserves a little bit of a deeper explanation. So I'll get back to you on that. All right, so
get back over to the chat as well to see if there's any other comments or questions that we haven't neglected here. But if there's any little things that you guys have really liked so far that you'd like a little bit, like a longer explanation, if we went too fast, because we do speak fast here, let us know if there's something that wasn't clear. And if it is, as like Maureen said, like that's requires a like more explanation, this might be a separate video topic if you guys are really interested in that technique or that resource. So okay, and yeah, so yeah, cool. And okay, great, so let's keep going. Yeah, so in addition to this idea of reading, listening, there's another resource that I wanted to share here, and I'm going to get back on my screen. And let me get over here. And yeah. Okay, so have any of you guys heard, can you see my screen?
Oh, yes. What is this?
Yeah, so have you guys heard of this website, Breaking News English? No. So a couple of us teachers, those of us participating in the Challenge Accepted XXL, we were asking each other what are some of your favorite resources, and one recommendation came up was the Breaking News English. I've used this with my students a lot of times as well, and it's awesome. There's like, based on your level of understanding in the language, there's like 6 levels. 6 would be like really more advanced. Level 0 would be really basic. And usually these things are kind of grouped together. So like this article might have levels 4, 5, 6. So that would be kind of a slightly advanced, slightly less advanced, a little less. And then here maybe beginner, a little higher, a little higher, a little higher. Usually get those groups on there. So if I look on here, as I mentioned before with the Voice of America, they have text and audio. Well, this is even more than that. So if you look here, there's like a 27-page PDF of all of these types of like tons of exercises that can go along with this short 2 paragraphs. But they also include maybe you can listen to this with a different accent. There are maybe questions, comprehension questions, maybe listening to this. You can change the playback speed, or it's recorded at different speeds. You can do dictation exercises. There are maybe like putting the text back together with reading exercises. There's fill in the gap grammar exercises. They've removed the articles, so you have to put them back in. Maybe they've removed the prepositions, you have to put that back in. Maybe they just jumbled all the words, you have to get the word order back. There's spelling exercises, there's word exercises. I'll just scroll down through here, but you have maybe, as a teacher, you have some warm-up exercises, preparing the group for getting ready for that topic and looking up the vocabulary words that could be related, getting into a vocabulary, like word with its definition, true and false for comprehension. You can get synonyms with the vocabulary, matching phrases, filling in the gap with vocabulary words.
Awesome.
These are multiple choice questions related to this. Listen to it, so don't read it yet. Listen and fill in the gaps. So comprehension questions, multiple choice quiz, role plays. So you might have something related to that topic, and you can, that each of you have some kind of a prompt that you would use to talk to each other about that topic. And it just goes on and on and on. There's surveys, there's discussion questions. for student A, student B. There's the close, this kind of gap fill. These are things with maybe keywords. So it just keeps going. I'm almost at the bottom scrolling here, but it's just every single one of these articles that's on this website has a ton of these exercises and even homework.
This is an amazing resource
for teachers and for students. This thing is awesome. So it's incredible.
I'm taking notes of the thing. I'm surprised. How do I not know about this website? This is amazing, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the students are as excited as I am right now, but you should all be jumping on your chairs because this is a whole lot of free activity. This is awesome.
And if you go back to the main page here, what is this, like 2,500 free lessons in 7 levels? So that's a ton. I mean, even if you didn't keep up to date with something new tomorrow or the next day, there's a ton in the resources, the archives of just going back, scrolling back of what's been on there for the past couple weeks, like the 28th, the 30th, the 1st, the 3rd. I mean, every few days there's something new on here. And so they have a really great model for creating exercises that work for students. And then they're usually taking a couple, as you can see here, sources of information. So they might take 2 or 3 articles, and then they summarize this. They summarize it and put it into something readable, manageable for students, like 2 paragraphs. And then you have a ton of exercises that go along with it. So the idea of less is more is definitely valid for this website. You can do a ton of exercises with like just a little bit of content to get you started, and you can it's an excellent resource that you guys should be using for your English. What are some things that you think you would start using with for this one for your students?
Website with everything. The fact that it has so many skills involved as well in different types of activities. This is so good because I've seen there's different types of gap fills as well. Some with the options, some without options. So no, that's really cool. And I love the fact that it has several levels. That it works for several different levels as well. This is really good. This is amazing.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool to hear teachers getting excited about.
But you would think resources are easy to find, but most of the time they're not free. So that's why the fact that this is there is awesome. Yeah,
this is it's definitely a free one. I mean, I can see that there's probably making some money from advertising, but that's normal. I mean, if you get a lot of great free content, don't be surprised if there's some advertising. I mean, it makes it.
Everybody has to make a living.
Yeah, teachers definitely need to make a living. So let's move on slightly here. Maureen just had a great recommendation for Amazon. If you're not quite there yet in terms of investing, you could try to get used to this idea of also working with audiobooks. So Amazon, I'm not quite sure if they're doing audiobooks, but the idea is this is some classic literature. So things from, let's say, Charles Dickens, or let me go on this list here. The audiobooks, maybe Last of the Mohicans, Robert Louis Stevenson, like The Treasure Island, or Mark Twain. This is old literature. It's going back 100, 200 years, but if it allows you to get used to the pronunciation, then use it. So you have on here, let's say Little Women. I've used this one with students over and over again. So part 1 is just, you have the audio file. I can download this. And then what I would do on Google is find the PDF. So I'll go over here to Google and say PDF Little Women. And what I can do there, so like Planet PDF or something like that, one of these. So you can find these as a PDF, and then read along. So here I have this first chapter, and then I can listen to the MP3 with it, and you can start associating the pronunciation. You can do this shadow technique, read, listen. Again, lots of exercises that you can do. If you don't look at the page, you could take dictation, listen to the audio file, write down a couple sentences, and then go check the PDF, see what you got right, etc. So I think audiobooks, I think they have a partnership with Audible. Audible is like a paid version of audiobooks, and they have a lot of options there, like 150,000 audiobooks to choose from. So if classic fiction is not your thing, I think on Audible they also have maybe nonfiction or part of your interest.
Sorry. Related to Audible, I know a lot of online teachers end up getting discounts for Audible audiobooks. So always check, online teachers, because they often have discounts for those. I know English with Lucy had a discount at one point as well. So check it out, because you might also find discounts for that particular thing, even though it's not that expensive anyways, but it's always nice to get it cheaper.
Yeah, true. I've seen a lot of offers on different websites from time to time saying like, hey, the sponsor for this podcast is Audible. Go sign up to Audible today and you can get a free book or something like that. So, I mean, they have that ad right here on here, download a free Audible. So I've seen that on podcasts. I've seen that on other stuff as well. But yeah, if you can get a book like that's got like 2 hours long, you can listen to that thing over and over again and keep working on your pronunciation, your vocabulary, your grammar, read along with it. So you get one book, you can do a ton of exercises with it.
Yeah.
So, cool. And let's move on. Again, for listening practice, this is a great resource called the English Listening Lesson Library Online. So that's got 3 L's, ELLLO. And there's a lot of authentic pronunciation. To be honest, I haven't used this too much with students, but I know it has a lot of great content. I think students have told me that they use this. We talked to another teacher who was participating in Challenge Accepted XXL, Carla of Save Me Teacher. She was highly recommending this resource and saying that she was using it with friends or her students. And yeah, you have audio, you have video. And have you heard of this one before?
No, I haven't. Sorry, I was not focused because I was writing the tip on the comment section. I have not used this one before.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I need to go into it a little bit more, but let's say this one, expiration dates, and see what they have.
No, I used it. I remember the logo, because the exercises are similar to what my students have to do for the Trinity exercise, Trinity exam. Yes, I have used it before. Yeah, and you have accents. And what I like is that you don't necessarily always have native speakers as the speakers. Because in real life, you don't always speak to a native speaker anyways. So I thought that was really cool, because you got to hear different accents. Yeah, I remember that one.
It's like you have an Australian and an American. You have some vocabulary, some quizzes.
Yep.
So yeah, I think this has a lot of resources that you guys can work on for the English as well. Okay. You were getting into some tips about speaking to technology. And I was thinking about this one on the Google Docs about if right now, if I start talking, so hi, everybody. Can you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a weird question. Maureen, can you say something? No, I'm not sure if they're going to pick up your voice.
Writing. My name is Maureen. That was a stupid thing to say, but yeah.
Oh, I guess it's only picking up my voice.
Yeah,
it's not picking up my speakers. But I guess if you were coming through my phone, it might pick that up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
okay.
This is a really, really good tool, guys, because if your pronunciation is not quite right, it's not going to write the word that you meant. So it's a great way to check that your pronunciation is accurate. I actually think that what you're using is much better than what I'm using. I've talked about this activity before using Siri or using whatever you have, on Android. But I think the voice recognition system is not that good, and sometimes it messes up a bit. But what you're suggesting right now, it's just Google, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Google Docs, and then you go to voice typing on the Tools tab. So voice typing, the shortcut, it says it is Control-Shift-S. So,
yeah, this is even better, I think, than the one I was suggesting. Yeah. But yeah, guys, this is amazing for you guys to check your pronunciation, because if you don't say it right, it's not going to show right on the document itself. So, yep.
Yeah, I visited my family at Christmas, and my dad has one of these Echo. What's the name of the I forget the name that they use for that. Alexa, yeah. So my dad would say stuff like, Alexa, what time is it? And it's like, the time now in Southern California is 8:45 a.m. And then they'd be like, Alexa, what's the traffic like? And so my kids were there, and they were starting to ask Alexa stuff. And and it was forcing them to practice their English, because my kids are born here in Mexico. They prefer to speak Spanish, and they go to a school that has Spanish and French, and then I speak to them in English. So they're growing up kind of bilingual, trilingual, but it was kind of scary, funny to watch them talking to Alexa. And I think my daughter, who's like 3 years old, she was like, Alexa, I like you. And then it was really scary, because the thing, it responded and said thank you, I like you too. And and then my daughter was telling my dad, Alexa likes me. So I think as kids start growing up with this technology, they're going to be more comfortable with this stuff. And then just oh yeah, of course I'm speaking to these tools. But if you use this as a language learning way to practice your pronunciation, you don't quite get as embarrassed if a human didn't understand what you said. You could try this again with Alexa, but just make sure you don't quite have it set up to your Amazon Prime account where it's Alexa, could you buy blah, blah, blah? And then it's yes, ordering 2 boxes of cereal now. It's being shipped to your house. You're no, wait, no, stop. But so just, yeah, be creative with some of the stuff, but be careful it's not connected to all your paid accounts, so it doesn't send something.
Let me add a little funny anecdote here. Did you hear the whole Alexa controversy?
No?
What
happened with Alexa controversy?
Somebody filmed himself asking Alexa questions, and the first question was, Alexa, can you lie to me? And she replies, no, I'm not programmed to lie. I cannot lie to you. And then the man asks, Alexa, do you work for the CIA? And Alexa shuts down. So I think that's a way of not lying to us, but Alexa works with the CIA.
Okay. Yeah, you have to be careful a little bit. So some people say, yeah, that stuff, the technology is kind of listening in the background. So
yeah.
Anyway, that's another conversation for another day. Anyway, getting into some vocabulary translation tools. You had a really good tip here. Is this website, how do you pronounce this? I always pronounce it a little differently.
I said Linguee.
Linguee. I for some reason, I thought it was Linguee, I guess, but I don't know. I have to find out somebody who works there and ask them hey, what do you call your dictionary? So can you tell us how we use this?
So basically, when I was in university, we had a little bit of a translation work to do. And dictionaries are great, but what I like about Linguee is that it goes a little bit further. It is going to, so it works really well for expressions and idioms. Here in the example, we have cats and dogs, for it's raining cats and dogs. And we've put it from English to French. And basically what Linguee is going to do is going to analyze a whole bunch of text that they have in English and in the target language, and compare whenever those combinations of words appear to what it's like in the French version here, for example. which means that which is difficult to find sometimes when you have a group of words put together to form an expression. The dictionary doesn't find that. So here, for example, I don't know if you guys can see because it's a little bit small. Let me just put it bigger just for that. Yeah, for example, so if you look in the first one, we have a little bit of a sentence that has our cats and dogs. And then you have the same thing in French on the other side. And it tells you where the information comes from. Actually, sorry, can you write raining cats and dogs? Because here is, yeah, for the idiom, I think it would work a little bit better. Exactly. So the other thing that I wanted to point out as well is that you see that there's little warning signs on the document.
Yeah, here.
This is just to tell you that they cannot tell you how good the source of the information is, which means, for example, it could be something that is very colloquial, for example, or
yeah, I don't quite see this having a relationship to cats and dogs.
Yeah, exactly. The first example here is crap, but if you look at the next one, today it's raining cats and dogs, but we don't care. Well, this one still doesn't work. Crap. Yeah. My example is, well, look at the very first one. It's saying it was now raining cats and dogs outside. In French, they haven't translated it with an idiom, but they've translated it with redoubler d'intensité, which basically means the same. And in this type of writing, of the language that you need is not the idiom, is this expression in French. I don't know if I'm very
realize that it's related to rain. It's related.
Exactly. Because, you know, for example, an idiom might be more colloquial or informal. And here it's showing you that in French, you wouldn't use the idiom, but you would use that combination of words. So it's good for full sentences and expressions, really. That's the whole point here.
And in terms of the finding examples, let me just show another resource I was thinking of right now. On this website, RhymeZone, it's not just for rhymes. Like if I just do that, like let's say hot, I will get words that have that same sound. Trying to get something that might be, the ones that are in dark blue, this would be a very frequent rhyme for that. But another thing you can do with this website, so like raining cats and dogs, and I put that not in rhymes, but I scroll down here and I find example sentences.
Okay.
And search. See, okay, maybe this one, it's not that great for the expression. So Linguee or Linguee would be better for that one. But if I just say, let's say rain, and find example sentences, this is going to go into Wikipedia examples and say this is something related to something written related to a tennis match. Play was suspended in the fourth set owing to rain. Or northern parts of the state have more rain than the south. So I could get examples, not translated, but just I could see how that word is being used in a sentence.
Okay.
So this is a big thing that students usually ask is, how do I use this word in a sentence? Like I know what it means, I know how to translate it, but what's one way to use it? So you could use a tool like this one, RhymeZone, and they can find these example sentences on there. There's other things they can do, rhymes, synonyms, antonyms, definitions. You can find these in poems. You find something similar sounding, homophones. So that they have some search tools related to this as well. But for the one you were showing here, it has more than just English and French. If I go down here,
a bunch of languages
there. Let me go back to the original page, but I guess I see a lot of European languages and Asian languages.
It doesn't have to be from English to the other language, right, guys?
It can be different ones. Yeah, let me go back to the main website here and see what options they give. So yeah, I could have French to English, English, Spanish, but I could change that. So let's say if I put this back, more languages. So I can start from one of these. So let's say I start from German. It gives me all of these ones that I could use. So I could do, okay, it just clicked on French to Romanian if I wanted. But so I could have, let's say, bonjour. Can't type bonjour, and it'll give me something that has I don't see it. I think I know something about the.
I don't know what it's like in Romanian, so.
It looks like it's maybe this Buna. Yeah, I don't know. But I could use this as a tool to be curious, word before, to see, like, can I find something repeated that could be bonjour in Romanian? Could I learn Romanian vocabulary based on something I know in this language? So yeah, just be curious about it. Try to use it with vocabulary words that you're learning and see how they're being translated or how they're being used. But keep in mind, sometimes words don't automatically translate, especially with machine translation. Not everything always goes 100% the way you think it's going to go. Sometimes you do need a human to give you that input, that feedback on, like, well, technically yes, but that's not the way we would normally say that or something. That's why a teacher helps.
Jonathan, I have just thought of another website for vocabulary that is really, really good. Thesaurus.
Yeah. How do you spell it?
Thesaurus or Thesaurus or something like that.
Thesaurus.com?
Yeah. It's all about synonyms and antonyms.
Yeah, I definitely recommend this for a lot of students. It's big. And you can get things, okay, like this highlighted, like, dark color. So things like colossal, enormous, or something. And they give you this, that it means large, great. What do you usually do with this for your students?
Yeah, this website is really, really good. I use it a lot. And I also recommend it to my students because they always end up saying, I like, or good, and it's boring. You need to change it up. So, great website.
So good, yeah. Like, that was a wonderful resource. Thank you. That was a satisfying English lesson with you. Great. If we're on the vocabulary again, I would also recommend WordReference. Which, have you used this one?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, this one's cool. It's similar to the Linguee. Linguee does more of these finding sources that would have the same sentence, like word in that sentence. But if I say good in English to Spanish, so it'll give me bilingual, and it'll give me example sentences. Like, he studied hard and got good grades. So, and then gives me a sentence there. Now, another thing I like on here are these word forums. If I scroll down to the bottom, they give me lots of examples. And also phrases like enjoy good health, fairly good. But all the way at the bottom, it was like, good was not a good example because it's just way too many examples. Down here, these are discussions in a forum. And the idea is somebody has a question that says, okay, how do I say I had a bad day in Spanish? Maybe what we need is the opposite. Maybe somebody from a Spanish speaker trying to find this in English. But the idea is, pretty quickly, people are offering suggestions on translations and giving you. So this is feedback, direct feedback from native speakers or people who might be more advanced in that language. And then you can ask them these questions. So it's not just a dictionary. It's also access to native speakers. Yeah. And you can become a member. It's for free.
All right, yeah, I like what. Oh, I can hear myself in the background. I just think that it's also just a really good dictionary as well, and it has, like you said, all this extra stuff. And no, it's a good resource as well. Yeah, I use it a lot, definitely.
Yeah, they also, I think for English, it's not just the translations. I think there is also English only. So I think there's, English monolingual, English definition. So if I say good, it will just keep this in English. So I'm not only dependent on translation work. I can also have a combination of these definitions and synonyms like what you would find on the Thesaurus as well.
Well, this is a feature that I actually didn't know about, and I think this is even more useful because if you guys can understand something from an English definition itself, it's much better. If you don't need to switch to your own language to understand something, it's actually much better. So yeah, this is a feature I didn't really look for until now, and that's really good. I'm learning so much with you right now, Jonathan.
I sound like teacher Will. We learn together. So.
Yes, we learn together.
Cool. Getting onto this topic about dictionaries, you had a really good recommendation, the Cambridge. Can you tell us a little bit about this one?
So what I like about this one is that, can you write a word in there? Not grammar for dictionary, yeah. Just write a random word in the dictionary there.
Random. Oh, no, not grammar. You said dictionary.
That's fine. It doesn't matter here. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The main thing that I was going to focus on is for the pronunciation. Can you just circle the UK and US here with your little mouth?
Yeah.
Mouse?
Mm-hmm.
Your mouth.
So
your
over
mouth.
here.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So basically, guys, when you click on it, it's going to pronounce the words in British pronunciation and American pronunciation. And you also have the transcription with, I don't know if they use the IPA for that, the International Phonetic Alphabet, but with the phonetic transcription. So it's really useful. You can visually see the difference. You can actually see the difference in pronunciation and hear it as well. So if you're looking for a specific type of English, it's quite useful because you can really choose what you want to practice or hear, really.
Yeah, this is cool when you can, going back to what I said before about learning French phonetics, this is what improved my French, was learning phonetics, learning these symbols, and being able to recognize them, hear them. If you guys have an Android or an iPhone, there's a really awesome app that if you want to get familiar with these symbols, the IPA, there's an app called the Macmillan Sounds App. On here, if you go into the Play Store or the iTunes Store, if you look for this symbol, this like AE together, and it's cool because it has the chart. It has the phonetic chart based on the vowel sounds, the diphthongs, and then at the bottom it has the consonant sounds. Okay. And then if you click on one of the sounds, you'll hear a sample of the sound. So if I click like it, it'll go it. If I hold it and click, it'll go it or sit or something. And it'll give me an example word, and I can start associating the sound with the symbol. And then it has exercises that could be for transcribing, transliterating. Oh, transliterate is like Cyrillic to English. No, transcribe, I think, is from phonetics and back and forth. It has these audio or different words. It's a really cool, and it's free. But yeah, you have this for the Apple devices and Android as well. Okay. It's a really cool tool to have for your phone, and I would highly recommend this for your English on what device you're using. It's a really cool practice, vocabulary, quizzes, the chart. You can switch the chart between American English and British English as well. So if you're going back and forth, there are a few little differences. For example, here, these little 2 dots, that would probably be British English. So this would be like on a word like bird, like they don't have the little R on the American.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
You see it here?
Yes, okay, yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, like this little like that. So you can switch the chart between the two, British and American. But yeah, definitely in addition to the Cambridge, like Marine was saying, you can go in here, find the pronunciation, be curious, try to guess. Sometimes if you are looking up a word, see if you can try to think of what would be the symbols and then make a hypothesis. and then check the dictionary. That's part of being curious, is not just waiting for the answer, but trying to guess and then check to see if you were right. That will definitely turn on something in your brain, which is kind of, can I become a self-reliant or independent learner? Is, do I have the skills enough to do this by myself? And yes, definitely. Just have to be curious about it. There was a question in here on the chat about IELTS preparation.
Yeah,
and
sorry, I think
there
what it
was this.
Yep.
Network.
I think what it is, Jonathan, is that you said that you have a great resource for IELTS.
Yes, yeah, on here. So on this one, this Australian network, there's a thing called Study English. Just to see if this is loading. And this is for IELTS preparation. So this is a video series. And so this one, yeah, if you go to abc.net and then look up Learn English and look Study English, that's the name of this series. And there are 3 of them, 3 levels, I think, or three sets of these videos. I've usually used like the company growth one, and that is a short interview with a CEO of a company, and then they have a transcript here. And then they have some exercises that go along with it, taking spoken English and then turning it into what would be in an essay. So on the IELTS, the academic IELTS, you have to do an essay, which is taking like a graph and a bar chart and then commenting on the statistics. Like there was a growth of 25%, something like that. So this goes through some of these exercises and the verb forms and how you would write this.
Okay.
And this is just one example, one video. But if you are serious about kind of exam preparation work, especially the IELTS, I would check out this series. This is a really good one to look up. This abc.net and then Learn English and then Study English is on there. So I think we're getting into like over an hour and 15. I think we should probably wrap this up soon and get to the end.
So Jonathan is going to tell you guys about something really cool that he organizes every single month, and I am actually going to do it next month. Sorry. So I'll let him kind of explain to you guys, and then maybe we can all sign up on this journey together.
Cool. So I hope you guys have really liked some of these resources we've shared with you today. I think both of us are learning things as teachers, as learners. And one thing that has helped me as a language learner, and also encouraging my students, especially TOEFL prep students who have to record themselves for like 45 seconds, 60 seconds with the computer as part of the exam experience, the IBT, internet-based version of the test. So for the last year and a few months now, this like June is now like the 15th month in a row. I've been organizing a 30-day speaking challenge. So some of the questions that I was offering last week during Challenge Accepted XXL is like these open-ended questions. What's your opinion about something? What could you talk about? The idea behind that is maybe review some vocabulary words, look up some grammar points that would be related to that topic, maybe write down an answer. I mean, on Instagram, it was a lot easier to just write down and share a response. But in the speaking challenge, what we do is we can use a like a voice recording tool. I can go show this to you over here and just show you how this works. So once again, I'm going to share my screen. I know we've been sharing screen probably way too much today, but it's because we were using all of these websites. It's a lot easier to show them to you instead of just talk about them.
Definitely.
So let me share this audio tool. This is called SpeakPipe Voice Recorder. And just to show you, it's really simple. So I start recording. So hi, test, 1, 2, 3. Click stop. Okay, I can listen to myself. I mean, my audio is, so hi, test, 1, 2, 3. Then I will save that. I'll just put test. And then I get a link to this. This is just saving this. And then I get a link to this recording. And then if I wanted to, let me see if I can go over to where the where we are on the, let's see here. Here. So on YouTube, so this is the chat. This is kind of Inception kind of a thing.
Oh wow!
You see all of the comments here. So if I go put this link on YouTube, so if I put that link there, you can go over and I have to turn that off. Sorry, it's going to get annoying quickly. But so I'll stop sharing the screen here. But if you guys click on that link, that little audio file that I just posted in the text chat, that's just a sample. That's just a sample. But the cool thing about that is I just made a recording. I don't have to be linked with you on Messenger or WhatsApp or whatever. You just have an audio file there. You listen to it. If you wanted to, and if we are linked somehow in a program, my speaking challenge, you can listen to that. You can then give me some feedback. Now, let's say that was me presenting myself in English and saying, hi, my name is Jonathan. I learn English 3 years. And you're like, oh, wait, there's a mistake there. I can give you some feedback. I have been learning English for 3 years. So the idea behind this is kind of a message in a bottle. You kind of make a recording, throw it in the ocean. Somebody picks up that bottle, they listen to it, and they're like, oh, I can give this person some feedback, some corrections on their grammar, their vocabulary, and it's a whole community of learners who are helping each other. So I send out an email each day, like a prompt, maybe, hey, let's today is, or tomorrow, the 14th is going to be the first day of the World Cup. Let's talk about the World Cup. Which country do you think is going to win? Which country are you supporting? Do you like football? Do you not? Or like soccer? Sorry, can't remember international vocabulary there. And then make a recording. Just express yourself. If the topic's not, like, it's too challenging, you're welcome to talk about something completely different. You're not obligated to talk about each topic. It's just there if you want to use it. But if you're at a different level in your language and it's not really relevant to you, feel free to just comment on what did you do today, or what are your plans for the weekend, or something like that. And so we've gotten a lot of great feedback on this. If you guys want to see some of that feedback,
actually saying how good it is. Look in the comment section. We have Maria saying how great.
Oh yeah. Oh, Maria, she's awesome. She has been joining several times. And oh, thank you so much, Maria, for the feedback here. So and yeah, she's been participating several times, and she's been also helping out with feedback on people learning Italian. So we have, like, for example, Maria is working on her English, and she's also helping out some people learning Italian. And it really just goes like that within the community of, I might be studying Russian, a Russian speaker might be learning something else, and we just kind of help each other out. So it's been a project that's growing each month. And let me just make sure I go back over here and write the link there to check this out. But it's on my website there.
So guys, like Jonathan just said, it's every single month, and it starts on the 1st of the month, right?
Yeah, the 1st, yes. Mm-hmm. And it goes for the 30 days of the month.
Yeah, so for the 30 days of the month. And I'm going to participate in July, and I'm going to participate in Italian. I need to practice my Italian a little bit. So it's a great way, guys, to get some feedback on your speaking, and maybe, you know, on some grammar mistakes that you might make, on your pronunciation, on everything. So I really, really encourage you all to do it, because it's free, it's fun. Every day is a different topic, so you'll get to talk about many, many, many different things. and you can help others as well with your own language. So I think it's a really cool little project, and if you have and you don't have to make very long videos, right? They can be very.
No, I think on that SpeakPipe voice recorder, the maximum is like 5 minutes. So short audio, it's great. It's not a heavy commitment. And then for people listening, 5 minutes is not too long for, there's enough content to get a sample of your voice on a certain topic. In terms of the benefits, people have said when they start out, really shy, really nervous, afraid of making mistakes, afraid of being kind of ridiculed or criticized. And then within like 2-3 weeks, they start to say, I don't have to make as many notes. I can start to improvise a little bit more. I'm getting comfortable with making mistakes. I realize that everybody in there is also making recordings in a foreign language. So nobody is necessarily less exposed, or like everybody is participating in a foreign language. They're getting comfortable with making mistakes. Their confidence level is growing. Lots of people, after they go like month to month, they then go from an audio file to then turning on their video camera, then going to Facebook Live. And then even some of them are posting this on Instagram, and some of them are doing it on YouTube as well. So they're really getting out of their comfort zone and really expanding. I can hear the voice on like definitely a couple people of like really timid, really shy, and then they just start to really grow over a couple months and really sound a lot more comfortable, confident. Some people, when they first join, they're kind of lurking and just receiving the emails and kind of listening to the audio files, like, what's going on here? What are we doing? And by the time a couple weeks go by, they're like, now I see what's going on. People are making progress. I want to do this more the next month. So the program, it's free. If you guys want to kind of try this out, get your head around what we're doing here, that's fine. Check out the emails, check out other people's recordings, and if they're doing video as well, and then just adapt it to your level, adapt it to your needs. If you need to read something to practice, that's fine. It's a community of people who want to help each other as much as we can, and it just it keeps growing.
Sorry, last little question, because you mentioned some people doing it more than once. So there's no limit, right? You can join as many times as you want.
Yeah, there's no limit on there, and the idea that each email is different is definitely to keep it dynamic for people who sign up multiple times. So I have taken part in other challenges where it was just like one set of emails that you would get and it would never change, and that got kind of a bit boring, or a bit kind of like, I was hoping for something new, and no, it's the same thing. So this one, the emails are, I mean, there might be a couple popular topics that we pick up from one month to another, but each month there's something different going on in the world or going on in the calendar. So there's a World Cup. Why not talk about the World Cup? Or last month there was the royal wedding. Let's talk about the royal wedding, or etc. So that stuff just happens once. I'm not going to recycle that again. I'm not going to talk about the royal wedding again this month. It makes sense. So there are topics that kind of come up and go, and I respond to people's kind of reactions to, do they like those topics? Is that too hard? Is this too easy? So there's a lot of variability. It's a really living, breathing project. So it'd be great to have as many as you come on. But we've gone out here for like an hour and a half. So thank you, all of you, for participating in the chat and sharing your feedback on here. We hope you have enjoyed some of these tips. I will probably go and put a, I know, actually, I'm not going to make a new post on Instagram. If you can go back to Instagram and the post that we had our picture for this live, go back and leave us some feedback. Which resources did you like? Both on we have that same image on both of our accounts. So mine is jhugsint. So if you have come over here through Marine's account and you're just discovering me for the first time, Let me just write that. Jayhawks int. And Marines is my little English page. It's the same as, I hope I don't make a mistake here, my little English. Yeah. So if you find that, go over there on both of our accounts. We have a little image about today's talk. Give us some feedback. What did you like? There's going to be a replay. Obviously, this is YouTube. There's a replay. So, and I will try to put in.
Don't worry.
I'll try to put in timestamps so you don't have to watch the entire thing. Like, what was that link? Where was that? What did they talk about that? So I'll try to add some timestamps under the description and try to include those links that we talked about in the description of this video. So it's great that you guys were joining us live, but if you're watching the replay, we'll try to make it easier for you to kind of go find out what we were talking about there.
Exactly.
Last remarks from you?
Well, actually, it's somebody commented, I think it was Hugo, who said that if it was similar, your project, your challenge, if it's similar to WhatsApp group, from what I understand, it's not, right? Because with WhatsApp group, you give your phone number to other people, and then, you know, you don't necessarily want other people to have your own details, your phone number. With your challenge, it's just through emails, isn't it?
Well, to get the prompt, I send an email.
Yeah.
We have a Facebook group as well. Not everybody who receives the email joins Facebook. So some people, I mean, and then we use Google Documents to post the link, and then underneath the link, then we provide the feedback in writing. The tricky thing with a WhatsApp group is it's one endless stream of text. It has a search tool on WhatsApp, but you kind of have to go look for something and scroll, and then the conversation can kind of go one way, and then you're kind of interrupting it. So WhatsApp can be, it's great for instant communication, but as a group activity, it can get really overwhelming if you've got like 200 people participating.
Also, I think that for females, it sometimes isn't the greatest tool. You sometimes have that with Facebook as well. People think that learning a language is a dating app. So that's why I like the fact that it's with a website, with an email address when you've done, because you can even invent an email address just for the challenge. If you feel uncomfortable sharing your personal information, your phone number, your email address, there's always the option of creating one. And I like that, because it's true that a lot of girls, and somebody actually commented that earlier, they left Facebook groups and things like that because people were just kind of harassing them. And so you guys, if we still have girls watching, or if some women are watching the replay after, this is proper safe. You will not feel uncomfortable. There's no weirdness here. So
no, I really try to bring in people who are serious about language learning. And definitely going back to this comment, yeah, you can make up an email. I've had some people either shy or other countries where they might not want to be on camera or wear the veil. So there are, it's friendly in that respect that you can just have your voice. I think there are even tools that if you wanted to, you could modify your voice to be a little bit more anonymous. I haven't gotten into that technology. I think that's more CIA. But it's just an audio file. You don't have to put your name on the audio file. So it could just be anonymous. You could make up a name. You don't have to use your real name. So it's just get into the habit of recording your voice, get some feedback on this, and help some other people out. You don't have to use a real name, a real address, etc. So if that is a concern for you, we have options there as well. But
I thought that was a nice little thing to add, because I think it can make a really big difference for women.
Yeah, I've seen that also in that language exchange group that I run. That it can get a little tricky sometimes. But yeah, good to bring that up. So yeah, so definitely check out Marine. I think you have the same name everywhere. So
everywhere, it's easy.
So mylittlenglishpage.com.
Yep, that's the blog. So www.mylittlenglishpage. That's the blog where you'll find some activities, some expressions, things that are explained a little bit more in detail. And then you have the Facebook, where I'm going to start doing more lives as well, lives alone. The Instagram, where I also put a lot of videos and idioms and quizzes. And I'll be doing a lot of lives with other teachers mostly. And then there's a YouTube channel as well, where I'm going to start making more videos more regularly, because I haven't been very good at that.
That sounds very, very promising. So I'll be definitely looking forward to this. And which language are you going to be working on in July?
Italian.
Italian. Excellent. So definitely say hi to Maria here. I'll make sure Maria checks you out as well.
I think Maria's learned now, yeah.
But thank you so much for talking with me today and sharing a lot of these links. It was a lot of fun. It was great time networking with you last week in the Challenge Accepted XSL, and it's great getting a chance to finally talk with you live here.
And also, everyone, so you know we did a challenge last week on Instagram. Well, stay posted, because there's a lot more fun coming.
Definitely, definitely. So, and by the way, yeah, I'm on Instagram, JHugsInt, that's Jonathan Huggins International. It's not a great name. I might be rebranding it soon, but for the time being, it's JHUGSINT. On YouTube, this one, it's just youtube.com/Jonathan Huggins. And on Facebook, it's Huggins International. I'm really sorry. These are different names everywhere.
You're not making it easy, are you?
Yeah, I'm not making it easy. I need to take inspiration from Marine and just same name everywhere. Get that. So, but yeah, for the time being, it's those names. But thank you once again, and have a great afternoon, great day, great evening, wherever you are in the world. And thank you guys for watching and participating in the chat and watching the replay.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.